What are you doing outside? It's cold. Get in here. Welcome to the inside of the cabin. Here are my tips on how to stay warm and cozy during these winter months. Cold weather camping is here, and it's essential that you stay warm and stay comfortable. I spent a lot of winter nights in my Tune camper. The coldest nights I think I've seen is like -2, which is freezing, but I was very comfortable and cozy in here. And so I want to give some tips on how to do that, how to stay warm, and especially how to stay safe, because when you're camping out in weather like this, it's not just cold, but it can be dangerous if you don't have ways to stay warm. Fortunately, the Tune offers a ton of space on the inside, making winter camping even that much more enjoyable. It's easy to cook inside, hang out inside, and most of all, it's easy to stay warm. So, how do we stay warm when it's freezing cold outside and we want to keep it nice and cozy on the inside? Now, number one is obviously having a good heater. There's a lot of options to pick from. You can go propane, diesel, electric. Everyone has their own preferences. The heater that I have in here is the Truma heater that is offered by Tune with the campers as an accessory. And it's powered off of this propane tank right here. It's just mounted to the side. The Truma heater works really well. It keeps it really toasty in here. It's efficient, and it doesn't use a ton of power from my power bank, which is also very important, and I'll tell you why. I always carry a backup propane tank. This is really important because sometimes you'll run out of propane in the middle of the night and then you're stuck without heat. So don't get caught without a backup fuel source for your heater. So the next thing is having a really good power system. In the winter months, it's a lot more difficult to keep that power system charged because if you're running off solar, the days are shorter and the angle of the sun is lower, meaning you're just not getting that solar input that you normally would. Having DC to DC charging is really helpful, so you can start your car and power up your battery. But above all, having a good power system is going to be your best friend in the winter months. It's definitely essential. Having really good insulation makes a world of a difference in keeping your camper warm and also just making everything else run efficiently. You're going to use less battery to run your heater, and your heater is going to use less fuel to keep it warm inside. What I have is the Tune insulation pack surrounding my canopy and the canvas. You can see that. It makes a world of a difference. It truly does. We've never had a cold night in here. Last night was some brutal wind and hard snow, and I think my thermostat said outside was like 20 something degrees, and on the inside we were sitting at a good like 70 or 80. So it stayed nice and toasty in here all night, which when it comes to camping in the winter and staying comfortable, it makes it easier for you to want to do it, but also makes it just a more enjoyable experience all around. You can sleep better, you sleep more comfortable. Getting out of bed isn't a hassle because now you're not afraid to step out of your warm blankets so you can make breakfast or make your coffee in the morning. So you should always have a secondary source of heat. This is super important because for like myself, last winter there was a night that it was sub 10 degrees and the regulator on my propane tank went out. That's a really easy fix. It's really cheap. Just go to a hardware store and get a new one. But when it's 11 p.m. at night in the winter and none of those are open, what do? So having a secondary source of heat is essential. So what is my secondary source of heat? Well, my secondary source of heat is this electric blanket. I really highly recommend having an electric blanket because it just makes things even cozier anyway. Like I will use it at the same time as the heater actually up here. Works really well. They do draw a lot of power, so that's probably my only drawback, but they keep it warm and they keep you directly warm. So as a secondary source, instead of like focusing on needing to heat up this entire space, it's just about keeping yourself warm. Second to that is having a really good sleeping bag, just in case all else fails. And then my third source of heat is having really fluffy dogs. That helps a lot. So now the next part of staying warm in the winter camping is dealing with condensation. This is just thermodynamics, it's physics, it's something that you can't fully avoid usually when it comes to camping in the winter, but there are ways to help it. And the best way, which I know doesn't sound fun and it kind of sucks, but if you just open your fan and turn your fan on even just like to its lowest setting, that will help just keep air circulating and it'll keep some of that condensation out. It's not going to do everything, but it will help. Other factors in condensation are what your source of heat are. Propane heat generally generates a more wet heat. The Truma actually does a really good job of not making it damp inside, which is, I'm not really sure how that works because it is propane, but diesel heaters generate a dry heat. Electric obviously isn't going to generate any condensation. Then the other factor is how many bodies do you have in there. So usually for me, it's myself, it's my partner, and then it's also our 2 dogs, which means that's 4 bodies breathing in here. You're not going to beat all the condensation. There's just nothing that you can do about it, but you can help make it a lot better because wet and damp inside makes it harder to stay warm inside. And so it's important to keep in mind. One of my favorite feelings of camping in here is actually when it's dumping snow and it's the harshest conditions on the outside possible, but I'm nice and cozy and toasty, like in my own little bubble. It gives me just such a good feeling. Those are my tips for surviving winter camping. If you're looking for a rig to go hit the slopes with and camp in that's going to keep you cozy and toasty, this is a really good way to go. This is a good route for it, and I highly recommend it.